last video, you got to know about all the top book series that I have read and I love so much. In today's video, I am going to talk about the Indian book series that I have read and loved a lot. So without further ado, let's get started with this video. If you are new here, hi there, I'm Manpreet. I make book related videos on this channel. Subscribe, follow me on my social media and hit the bell button so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Anyway, in this video, I have 5 top series that I'm going to mention. Then I'm going to mention 5 that are on the top of my list, but I have not finished these series yet, or the authors have not come up with the whole series yet, and then a few that I do not like. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1 is my top favorite, and that is Shiva Trilogy by Amish. Now this is a mythological fiction trilogy which reimagines the story of Lord Shiv and reimagines him as a normal man who has to fight to win. And the storytelling of this series is so amazing. Amish Tripathi has done such a good job, and there are so many twists in this book, and there's so much of emotion, and the plot of this book is really cool. And once you read this whole trilogy, you'll realize that most of the mythological fiction that we read today in Indian literature, that is all somehow and in some way inspired from what Amish Tripathi has done with this book. So it was sort of like a pioneering book for this genre. It is so good, so amazing. If you have not read it, go for it. I read the first book. I did not like it that much, okay? And then I didn't read the whole trilogy for years. It's just that I think last year I read the whole trilogy and I just realized, oh my god, Manpreet, this is what you were missing. Yes, the first book, yes, there are issues. I have vlogged about it, okay? But you can get over that. This is like one piece of historical work, I would say, because it changed the industry as we know it now. So you must check it out. It's awesome. And I have to say, it is the only book series that I have read from India that I feel like can compete with the book series we have globally. It is the only one that can compete at the global scale, and it is that good. Amish Tripathi has come up with the Ramchandra series as well, and honestly that will not ever make it to my favorite list according to me, because I have read first three books. These are the ones that have come out, and I have liked only one, and other two I have hated those books. I have had major issues with those books. So yeah, just Shiva Trilogy for now. Number 2 is the Ajaya series by Anand Neelakantan. This is a Mahabharata reimagining. So Anand Neelakantan, first of all, let's talk about him as an author. I have read multiple works by Anand Neelakantan, and he is just that author who has this knack of writing so that your emotions just come to you as if there's an ocean brewing inside you. So much of emotion and such great writing. Anand Neelakantan is really good at that, okay? And he has written this Ajaya series where he has reimagined the whole concept of Mahabharata, where he has imagined that what if Duryodhan was the good guy, and what it would look like from that. Now this was a very tough task because there are things that you could just not ignore when you're doing this kind of retelling. Shiva Trilogy is very different kind of story, okay? It is like fantasy, whereas this is actually a mythological retelling, where the author has gone through like the whole series of events like they are, but reimagined them, okay? And so it's not that fantasy, it's a retelling. It was difficult to just justify what Duryodhan has done, especially when he's the good guy in the story. But he has done it. Anand Neelakantan has done a very good job. Like there are 2 books. The first book is amazing. I fell in love with it. The second book, I did have a few issues, but then again, the whole experience of the series is just epic, awesome. Next again is a duology, which is Those Pricey Thakur Girls and The House That BJ Built by Anuja Chauhan. Now, both of these books are set in very different times with somewhat related characters, and I have reviewed The House That BJ Built on the channel years ago. That was the book that I read first, okay? I did not know there is a prequel. Like, there's the first book, not even a prequel, but just a few years back, I think last year or last to last year, I read Those Pricey Thakur Girls as well, and I love it. Those Pricey Thakur Girls has also been adapted into the TV show Dilli Wali Thakur Girls. I tried watching the show, but I feel like the image in my mind about like Devjani and everything, of this book, Those Pricey Thakur Girls, that is just so high. The TV show can never match to it. I tried watching it and I was like, no, the characters that I imagined in my mind, this is not it. I can't watch it. But yes, if you're looking for a fun contemporary fiction series, try this out. Number 4 is the Kalki Trilogy by Kevin Mitchell. This is again a mythological fiction. This is more fantasy. Okay, it imagines the story of 10th avatar of Vishnu, and yes, again, like I wanted to specifically make that point about like there are mythological retellings, which is something Ajaya Series is, and there are fantasies, which is what Shiva Trilogy and most of the books that Kevin Mitchell writes are. Okay, so this one is the first series that I read by Kevin Mitchell. There are 3 books and I loved it. This is like one mythological fiction series that is very easy to get into, and I loved how, you know, the first book was actually a self-published book, and I was like very happy to just support the book because I read it and I was like, oh my god, I love it. And then now Kevin Mitchell has emerged as such a inspiring author for the whole country, and you know, it has been really cool to just see the progress from like his first book to his third book, and now he has written so many other books. But if I have to just say which is my favorite, it's the Kalki Trilogy. I have read Kalki Trilogy, Narsimha book 1. It is a huge competitor, Narsimha. Okay, that book is really cool, but the language wise, most of the like very newbie readers who are used to reading like very simple books, they might not like Narsimha that much, but I love Narsimha. Okay, I love the writing of the author in that. I have read his Sinbad, I have read Meghna. Meghna was a standalone, but like just to give you an idea, I have read a lot of works by Kevin Mitchell, and Kalki Trilogy is still something I would definitely recommend you to try out. It is good, really, really good. The concept is, you know, obviously there is the story of the 10th avatar of Vishnu, but it is all just about like, you know, the battle between Dharam and Adharam, and there is this whole mystery, and there are a lot of twists about like what is Dharam and what is Adharam or who it is and all of that stuff, and the battle scenes. I mean, like, I loved Kalki books because of like how the Kevin Mitchell has opened up his books, especially the first book, and you know, different action and stuff like that in the book. I loved it. Number 5 is the duology. Again, I too had a love story, and Can Love Happen Twice by Ravinder Singh. Now again, I read the second book first years ago, Can Love Happen Twice, and then I read I too had a love story. This is a very good like you know, sort of like you can say young adult novel series. This duology, I mean, the thing is, I really like the books, but you know, most of the regular readers might not like these books because they are very raw. I Do Had a Love Story is like a story inspired from author's actual life, where he meets his the love of his life on a matrimonial site, and you know, it's a story about that. And then there is Can Love Happen Twice. Okay, and I believe if you are a beginner, if you are a college student just looking for your first or second or third book, you might like this a lot. And I feel like this the popularity of this book and my recommendation for this book is just like constrained within that period, because I know that anybody out of that circle might not like that book. Maybe you can like it, but my prediction is you won't. So if you are into that range, into that time frame where you are a college student looking for your first few reads, you might like this book a lot, this whole duology a lot. Okay, apart from this, I wish I had more Indian book series in the list. I know there are very promising Indian book series that I'm yet to get to, but there are a few that I have already started, but I'm waiting for the next few books. For example, Sangram Sindhu Gatha series by Vivek Kumar. These are Hindi books, and I feel like this, like, I have read Arthla, I have read Malhar. The Arthla is one book that once I read it, I feel like there's nothing like this. You know, it is so good, so good. I mean, like, even all the foreign authors that I've read and all the foreign book series, Arthla competes with them or even win against some of them or all of them. Arthla, the whole series is so good, but there are only 2 books. And yes, and I know a lot of people ask me, Manpreet, do you know when the next books will come out? Because, you know, I have worked with the author for Arthla and Malhar both, and now even I cannot get in touch with the author, okay? So I'm just waiting someday. I have full plans to go and ask the publisher about it now, because like I cannot get in touch with the author about like the third book when it will come out. Apart from that, I have huge expectations from the current series that Kevin Mitchell has wrote, like Karan, the book 1 is something that I feel like is better than all of his works till date that I have read, and I have read most of it. So I have very high hopes from that too. I also really want to read the whole Bharat series by Ashwin Sanghi. I have read Keepers of the Kal Chakra, have really liked it, and there's a new book that has just come out. But I want to like assign a lot of my life and time for actually getting through all of these books together. So that is not going to happen yet. But yes, this is also something that I really have high hopes from. Apart from that, again, very eagerly waiting for the next book in the Boy Who Loved series. I have read The Boy Who Loved it. The Boy with a Broken Heart, really liked it. I'm waiting for the third book. And lastly, I really want to read the whole Bahubali series, Bahubali Before the Beginning series. I've read the first book and now the whole series has come out, but like again, I need to assign some time to read the first book again and then go for the next 2 books as well. I will do that someday and document it on the channel. Stay subscribed for that. And apart from these, a few that I have not loved or even liked or I have hated are like Forever series by Navneen Chakrabarti. I have a thing against the books that that are split into parts when they don't even have like even the 2 parts combined together do not have a big enough story to be one book. So like I did not like it. Stranger Trilogy by Navneen Chakrabarti. A lot of people like it. I've read the first book, found the same old thing which I found in Forever series, and I just did not like Forever series. So I was like, okay, there's no point in me like reading the next 2 books and hating on it. So I just didn't read the whole Stranger Trilogy, but I didn't like it. I feel like it's just more because it's erotica and it just sells and it just works on that, but there's no real substance into the story. So there are things that don't even make sense. I have read the Forever series, I'm saying it on the basis of that. So I just did not want to like even continue the Stranger Trilogy, so that is one that is never going to make it to the list along with Forever series. And another one is Shantaram. Okay, oh my god, Shantaram is like, okay, this author is not even Indian, but he has written a book about Indians, and you would be like, he has written a whole series because this got so popular, and I have read about like 400 to 500 pages of Shantaram, I think, so far. Why? I mean, like, why is this book is popular? Like, when I started as a booktuber, if you looked at like Indian books you should read, there's no list where you would not find Shantaram. Okay, but I feel like the more I read this book, I realize that this book is just such a distorted version of what India is like, and most of the foreigners somehow like fancy this version. Like there are so many other books that show you the real version of India, and which is not just this. But this author has like just dwelled on this and exaggerated a few stories about this and all of that stuff, and it's just like there's no like, if I have to say it in Hindi, koi sir pair nahi hai is book ka. There is no structure to this book. This is just like a lot of rambling of this guy, and who is talking about India when I mean, like, he shouldn't be talking about India in this way, because I don't have a problem with the way he's talking. It's just that he's just like very deliberately crafted this whole picture of India, which is selling very well to all the foreigners. But as an Indian, you'll be like, okay, I don't have a problem with like just to make it clear, I don't have a problem with like showing the slum part of India or stuff like that. All of that is real stuff of India. But what he says in the book and what he makes it sound like, that is very cringe. That is so not real. That is some of it is real, but some of it is like very fake and very forced. So it's just like, and the book is very boring. Most boring book I have like tried to read in last few years. So Shantaram, the whole series, whatever it is, if I am able to even finish the first book, that would be a huge thing. I just wanted to like read it, but like the series will never make it to my favorite book series list. But yes, that's about it. You now know what are my top 5 Indian book series and what are the ones that are strong contenders for my top 5 series part 2. But let's just see what happens if you have some Indian book series that you have really loved, okay, that you have read and loved. Just let me know in the comments down below, because I'm a reader like you. I am always trying to discover new books and find new books and talk about them on this channel, and your suggestions always help me out so much. So comment down below with your favorite Indian book series. And yes, thank you so much for watching. This is Mampi signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.